Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Shelter. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free, I think on itch.io, and if you want to support them and get the most up-to-date version earlier, you can go to their Patreon. So, on the last Let's Play, we went to the tower and saw that cable was cut. And that was no bueno. So, face. We used ourselves as a meat cable, and connected it, which gave us memories of Rune's past, where he talked with Burry, and it was not a very good conversation, Because, he was hit by Burry when he was a general guy, and threatened to kill Burry, and torture, and all that stuff. Lots of things. So, anyways, it was a mighty problematic mission to Rune Moon. Mightily. He suffered his first wound, a first scar that would soil his otherwise spotless body. The physical damage from his ribs might have started to mend after a few days, but that worried him. But what worried him even more was the spiritual imbalance he suffered as a result of Burry's man attack. And the soldiers needed him. They were lost and weak without their hero's might and supervision. Then he would need to have trained them better, because if they're weak and lost, then he didn't really train them that well. Or somebody didn't. Bad military structure. Even with Shelter under his control, they had no clue how to navigate the mysterious place. They couldn't make heads or tails of the many mysterious relics they found. On top of that, they had to fend off more and more powerful monsters every night. None of the original denizens of Shelter took on the offer of leaving and being escorted to Mooresbrook. All of them stayed, truly believing that place to be their home. When the problem of their security was brought up, all of them said that the monsters would keep being drawn to Shelter as long as it remained asleep. Only one person could awaken it. Only one person Rune Moon really, truly afraid to face. The inside of Shelter is dark and cold. As a member of the Siberian Husky clan, I enjoyed the cold greatly, but the lack of sunlight sometimes gets to me, makes me feel claustrophobic. But before I can go outside, I must first heal and secure the safety of everyone here. This is not a proper place for settlement. No crimson timbers here. No way to deter monsters with magic. However, all of the dogs I have spoken to told me the same thing. Oop. Sorry. Just wanted to reset myself and clicked on something. The human can wake Shelter up. He can chase monsters away. Awoo, General, I brought him. Bring him in. Leave us alone. General, are you sure? I wave my hand. Reluctantly, all of the soldiers leave the room. The human and I stand there, among a messy bundle of pipes, cables, and mysterious black glass rectangles. Oh, like tablets? The torch in my hand sheds light over our dirty, tired faces. Well, get to it. Make it wake up or whatever. Where's Burry? Still here, alive. Before you tell me to do anything, you should apologize first. For what? For saving you? For letting you stay alive? I heard you're a hero. You don't act very heroic. Shut your dog-damn mouth and get to work before I make you eat those words, mutt. Just like the last time, right? Really struck a nerve, huh? You little... I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't even remember what I said exactly. But whatever it was, I'm sure I didn't mean to hurt you. I just feel sorry. For you. This is exactly why I asked my soldiers to leave us alone. I can't read this freak. I can't follow his thoughts. And all of his words seem to have hidden dimensions. He makes the fur on the nape of my neck stand straight from irritation. Fear? I can't tell if he's mocking me, or if he's just mad. However, this time, without the eyes of my bystanders, I'm alone and am able to grit my teeth and calm myself down. So, you're not going to do that? The human sighs and turns around. He approaches the wall with a bunch of big switches. I will. But not because you asked me to. He flips a single switch on the wall. He stands there for a moment, listening. He looks around. He smirks. Okay, this should do it. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. You must be joking. Even I could do that. Then why didn't you? Well, I didn't know, obviously. Obviously. But Burry did. I taught him. So, let me ask again. Where is he? Alive, I told you. But unlike you, he wouldn't cooperate. I swear, if you hurt him, then you would be powerless to do anything about it. However, if you continue being a good boy, you can keep him safe and fed. Will you let me see him? If you cooperate, we can talk about it, eventually. Tell me how you figured all this out. I don't believe you just came here already knowing which hand to move. I raise my hand to point at it. Weirdly, the little contraptions on the wall appears double for a moment. I shake my head and bring myself back to focus. I must still be weakened from my wound. But I don't have time to rest. I have to progress our exploration and understanding of this place. The human stares at me with an inquisitive, hard-to-read look. He nods. Yeah, a lot of that was just blind trial and error, flipping all of those switches randomly to see if they do anything. Sometimes, something would start humming, or there'd be some faint light, or we knew that was doing something. Light? And sometimes it would be I would just get a hunch, you know? I felt this room was important, so I was fixed on figuring it out. You think yourself a prophet or something? No, not really. But I can see energy, you know? A lot of it was flowing through this room. And, you see these black screens? They have a lot of helpful info, but only if you can read them. Because you're human, or whatever. He replies. I zone out for a moment, and miss what he just said. He keeps talking, but I can't make up a single word. Finally, I manage to regain my clarity. I'm starting to feel sick. I have to go lie down. Oh, I guess he's feeling shelter sickness. I mean, I guess everyone would. Fascinating. Yeah, very important. I'll send someone to learn from you. You stay here. No, wait! Look, I'll show you. Takes a deep breath, and I can vaguely see a gentle glint of the torchlight amplified in his eyes. Is he using his mana? With swiftness and confidence, he starts pushing some random squares at the board in front of one of the black glass receptacles. Then, after he swipes his finger over the glass and presses another square, a strong, refreshing wind starts blowing through the room. How? We're deep inside the temple. The wind keeps picking up, and the flame of my torch, already faint, finally gets snuffed out completely, leaving both of us in complete darkness. I grab the handle of my sword, growling. What the hell are you playing at, you? But then, after a few more clicks, the wind starts dying off. Instead, everything around us illuminates with magical light. I look around frantically, brace myself for an assault of some devious, destructive magic. It never comes. The human smiles. Using this panel, we can control many functions of shelter. There isn't enough energy flowing to power up everything everywhere right now, but if we focus all of our power on only one room, as we did just now, then I punch him in the guts. Not with my full strength. I don't want to kill him. Still, the blow sends him to the floor. He wheezes for air. I feel the charge of his weird, alien mana in the air. I focus my mind on absorbing it. But then it fizzles away before I even chance to get hold of it. What? Oh, so I guess he wasn't attacking me out of, being, being pissed off. He's doing it to try and absorb mana to figure it out. Did I just imagine it? No, it was definitely there. It just escaped to me somehow. It won't escape the next time. Keeping in mind the exact feeling, the flavor of that power. I raise the human's coat and shirts to my left hand, and a piece of his exposed skin with my claws, so deep they draw blood. This time, the mana doesn't have a chance to escape. I absorb it and feel it inside me. So comfortable, familiar. I start burning it. Oh, is he gonna rip his eyes? My perception changes. Every mana type feels different, and this time, the sensations are something I've never experienced before either. All of my thoughts become so clear, so complex and numerous, and yet they're perfectly orderly comprehensible. The sickness and tiredness I felt a moment ago completely disappears. I feel great, more awake than ever. And yet, I still can't see everything on those black screens. You said there should be something, some information. I know it's reckless to overdo mana burning on a type I haven't used before, but this feels so natural to me. My mind is clearer than ever. With his power, I feel like it could easily do so many things I would struggle with before. I have to see how far it can push me. I can see it. The signs on the screens, they're there. So beautiful. So I reach my hand out to touch them, and I freeze. I stare at my hand. I look around. At the human's face, grinning despite the pain. And my own face reflected in the glass. It's so... No. Oh God, no. Louder, no. Stop. The thoughts. The truth. I scream. I desperately wave my hands around me, trying to fight my own mind. I even grab my sword, but the handle slips off my hands before I can even take a proper swing. I back up to the corner, trying to run away from what I can't hurt. At the moment, I hear a single click, and the lights in the room turns off. Weakened, I slump down on the floor in the corner of the pitch-black room. The visions and thoughts give way to an absolute horror of the approaching steps in the darkness. He stands right in front of me. I don't have enough control over my body to protect myself. This is for hurting me. What is that thing there? For trying to take shelter away from me. And for whatever you did to Bury, you irredeemable piece of shit. What was that thing they had there a second ago? Is that like mana thing? I mean, it kind of looks like I don't know, guys from like some kind of like children's show from like, oh, I don't know, 20s, 80s or 90s. God, I mean, like, oh yeah, the 20s. Oh yeah, that's kind of this year. A slap, then punch it on my face, then a kick in my guts. I feel it also strongly, as vulnerable as if I had been flayed. Every touch, every word sharp enough to make my naked spirit bleed. I cower, dreading another touch, another word, but he walks away. I hear him picking up my sword. His steps are growing distant. He's leaving. He won't hurt me anymore. But as his terrible presence becomes faint, the space... Nope, there's those eyes again. The space that should be filled with relief becomes loud, blinding with visions, thoughts, and feelings once again. They resurface from the locked chambers of my mind. They hurt so much, scattered to pieces, and yet so clear, impossible to ignore anymore. I'm simultaneously confused and understanding too much at the same time. Left in the silence and darkness all alone, I can neither ignore nor protect myself from all those fears and pains I learned to bottle up so well through my life. Usually, when I look away from them, they would eventually go quiet and stop hurting. But right now, like what are we looking at here? I mean, they kind of look like dog faces, but they also kind of look like ragamuffins. Everything is screaming at me. All the unpleasant thoughts I've been hiding in the dark corners of my mind now swarm and burrow into me, tugging at me from all sides of the darkness. Swearing tangible fear, searing, and the thoughts I can't turn my mind away from. I feel like I'm breaking. I don't know what time it is anymore. I'm being pulled outside this time, drowned in that terrible darkness, where seconds eternities are all the same. And through this torment of everything, all at once, the seams of my body start coming undone, as I start remembering everything before I was me. Like, if I'm falling into a never-ending depth, I remember the lives of servitude to the wolves, every cycle filled with vain hopes and closed with regrets. I remember my failure as a collie, my first disillusionment as the German Shepherd. Finally, I stare into the eyes of my childhood friend, who granted me my thoughtless wish. I know what will happen next. I'm about to stop being myself. I'm about to become myself again. I can't fight it. All the strength I accumulated throughout my life turns against me in the face of this curse. I don't want it. I don't. And as I fight with all of my being from disappearing, I clutch into my strongest, most painful experience. The turning point of my identity, crystallized inside my spirit, keeping me anchored to who I am right now. I cry. I wail at the top of my lungs. Dad! I don't want to yell because, still the morning. Dad! I lose my breath. All of my body grows hot. A stream of tears trickles down my cheeks. I'm sorry. Please, please. Don't leave me again. I don't know what's the red texture. Don't let them kill me. More thoughts. More feelings, more memories. I live through them all again. I close my eyes. The exhaustion swoops over me, and yet the anguish doesn't relent. It keeps me fully awake, attentive. Cry, whimper, beg, apologize. And throughout the darkness, I hear steps approaching again. Someone's here, right in front of me. He embraces me. He hushes me down and pats my head. Calm down. Calm down. It's gonna be alright. It will pass soon. Just bear with it. I'm here. Don't cry. You whimper. But the thoughts, they grow quiet. In the warm, comfy embrace. Oops, sorry. My mind becomes blank. Warm. So warm. The hero fell into a deep, enchanted slumber. He slept for many days without dreaming. Through one of his rare flashes of consciousness, he could hear other people talking. As faintly as though through a thick wall, he listened to buried Tangleroot and Luke the human discussing his fate. And the fate of his soldiers. Oh, I guess they overpowered the soldiers? Because shelter sickness? If you want to dispose of them, now is our only chance, Tangleroot said. If you don't want shelter to fall behind the wolves' claws, blood has to be spilled. In his state of shelter sickness, as he would later learn the affliction's name, Rune didn't even feel scared for his life. He could hear and understand the words, yet their gravity eluded him. Yes, that's right, he thought. If they want to kill us, they have to do it now. I thought to do the same. I would do the same. But then spoke the human. You aren't killing anyone. Look how cute they all are snoozing. Kick their legs, Daw, he said, kicking their legs. And before the St. Bernard companion could object, he continued. If you heard him, you would understand. He won't give shelter up. He needs it more than any of us. After that, Rune's flashes of consciousness were limited only to a few instances of feeding, cleaning, and being offered water to drink. Once the long slumber finally ended, he woke up in a big room, all alone. There were many vacant bedrolls by the wall, and dim magical light lit up the shadows. When he went for a stroll around shelter, he found his men learning secrets of the place from the locals, while they waited for his awakening. Everyone was glad to see him back on his feet. Burry and Luke came to greet him. He learned that he was asleep for almost 2 weeks, much, much longer than anyone else in his platoon. They were starting to get worried if he would wake up at all. During his absence, the denizens of shelter integrated Rune's men into their lifestyle, showed them the wonders of the mysterious metal temple, and celebrated their peace from the monsters, while waiting for each soldier to wake up, one after another. With Rune, the final dog was finally awake, and he wasn't happy. He ordered Burry's re-imprisonment, a public flagellation of the human, which he volunteered to perform himself. He absolutely needed to keep up proper discipline and image. He had to show them who was in charge, and prove that disobedience was always going to come at a nasty price. Even if those people showed goodwill by taking care of them during the shelter sickness, the fact that they didn't warn them about it beforehand wouldn't go unpunished. It wasn't good enough that Burry actively helped his soldiers understand shelter either. If he didn't do that on Rune's terms, they had to understand who was in charge. Yet, at the same token, the fact that they had their lives spared wouldn't go ignored. A degree of understanding and mercy had to be applied in turn of their goodwill. Burry wasn't ordered to be changed anymore, and he was fed properly and given clean water, just like they were treated, like when they're treated through their sickness. In turn, Burry continued to cooperate, just like he was through the days when Rune was asleep. As for the human, the perceived trickery had to be punished, yet Rune's whip landed lightly on him, more of a show and noise than for blood. Weirdly, the act of whipping his naked, furless skin and hearing him grunt stirred something within Rune's frozen heart. His loins burned hotter and hotter with each swing of his whip, as he savored the scene of his eyes and ears with his. Eventually, as if in a trance, he cracked the whip with a good meter above his skin, purely to hear him grunt, to see his shiny, smooth body pushing against the bindings. He stopped. Covering his crotch with the human's coat, he examined the punishment. He exclaimed the punishment concluded, and then excused himself to his quarters, walking away with as much dignity as he could save. Once finally alone, he brought himself to release with the memories of that scene and the scent of the fabric in his hand. That was so hot. Like, holy crap. He literally came buckets. Well, I guess we're going to have to put this one on a... I really should make notes of these things, so that I don't put something that doesn't have the right thing. Oh, let's put my face a bit better. And with that, the mission could go back to its intended course. With the help of the shelter dogs, they made slow but steady progress, and understanding the mysterious place and the tools it harbored. With each of their regular trips to Mooresbrook to restock for food, they brought an artifact or two to be sent to the capital, a sign to the wolves that the mission was going well, and that it was bearing fruits of the magnitude they couldn't even expect. With each day spent in the tundras, they made breakthroughs and discoveries that pushed the scales of power further and further into the red. In favor of the red. Who's the red? Dad. General Gunner was going to be so proud. In his letters to the Grove, he mentioned his capture of buried Tangleroot. He spoke favorably of him, highlighting his invaluable contribution to that mind-boggling scientific endeavor. However, his writing claw froze over the parchment just as he was about to mention the presence of the human. For some reason, he decided to omit that detail, at least for the time being. Why? He wasn't sure. The Grove would get to see the human eventually, once the mission ends, when Rune has to return to the capital. Those last remaining 3 weeks of his mission, he simply wanted to understand why his very presence both scared and roused him so. Ooh, roused. This is a long thing. And boy, look at this facility. I would have to assume this is shelter, because outside of shelter it's medievally, but inside it's what, Mass Effect looking? I don't know how far this goes. I would have to assume it's more of these flashbacks, but we will leave that till later, because we're pretty much at time, and I'd have to assume we'd go up to the snoo, and then do that, because they said it was the end of the thing. I think I might take a break for my voice to recover, because, voices in my head. Oh, thoughts. I thought you said tots. So, end of this Let's Play. So anyways, please comment, because I like comments, and you like, dislike, tips, tricks, always. If you like my YouTube and like to grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out the videos to help it grow. And please remember to spam no to woo your animal woos to help control the pet population of woo. Woo? Oh, woo. And until next time, let's play me, the GamerWolfSix of Shoto Woo. See ya.